I want to do today is this is our first official, um, like our first official like training session that we do, and this one is real PowerPoint heavy. Our other trainings are not going to be this heavy on the PowerPoint. Um, I thank you, just Jeff. Thanks for joining. We're just getting started, so you haven't missed much. Like I said, this week is going to be there. This training session will be real PowerPoint heavy. The rest are not. We use a lot of video in our training, and we'll talk about that here in a couple of slides. But this one, we're just going to go over the expectations of everything and just kind of what it's like to be a football official, what you can expect in officiating football, and then kind of what we expect out of our guys. And then we'll talk about some axioms of officiating. So this is what you can expect. We're going to be upfront honest with you at first. First year, you're probably not going to be on the field for a varsity level game. That's not to say you won't. We have had circumstances in the past where first year guys have been on the field. But if you're brand new, first year officiating, that's just how the chances are. Our association, and we hope all are like this, we pride ourselves in we don't like putting anyone on the field unless they're ready. Um, we just we're just not going to do it because it's not fair to the coaches and the players. But if you're ready and we have a need, then you very well make it on the field your first year. We just want to throw that out there. Don't want expectations because I know when I first got started, I thought it was just you showed up on Fridays, you worked, and that's how it was. But it's not like that. But that's not to say you're not going to get plenty of snaps your first year. We're a small association, but we have a lot of schools we cover. So if you're available, especially Thursday afternoons and evenings for JV games, you will get a lot of snaps. Mondays and Tuesdays, I think Tuesdays are middle school heavy days. If you're available on Tuesdays, you'll get a lot of snaps. So you can get a lot of snaps by not necessarily being on the field on a varsity level game. Now, chances are, even if you're not on the field for varsity, you will be on a clock. We provide officials on the play clock. The game clock and the play clock, and probably half, if not more, of our schools have a play clock. So, chances are, every Friday night you're going to be working. It may be on a clock. And there's still a lot to learn on the clock, especially if you're your first year. There's a lot to learn playing around the clock. You can watch the crews, see how they operate, see how they conduct themselves. You're part of the pregame. If you're on the clock, you're part of the crew. Our referees will give you a pregame topic. Study for it. Pay attention in pregame. You are on the crew if you're on the clock. So there's plenty to learn. And the next expectation, too, that you should have from us is the best training in the state. Now, that's not me bragging and saying we're the best association in the state. That's not me even saying we're going to give you the best training. But your expectation out of us, and I would say this, any official in any state, in any association, you as an official should expect the best training we can give you. So please hold us accountable to that. If you don't think we're training you right or doing enough to train you, let us know. So again, I say that not because I'm saying we are the best, but your expectation as an official should be that we're going to give you the best of training. Again, I would say that for any official in any association. This is kind of how we tier our training. I like to really get, for first year guys, I like to get a solid foundation on the mechanics first. Because to me, that's the most important part of learning is getting the mechanics. The mechanics get you in the right position, to make the right call. And then we can get you to the rules later. So our next training, there is, you see, is June 21. It's going to be very mechanics heavy. Again, that's getting you in position to make the call. We're going to watch a lot of video, and we're going to talk about, and we're going to watch specifically videos specifically in a JV game, working a crew of four, which crew of four is what we work in JV. So it will be very mechanics heavy. And we're going to try and get you on that first. In July, the next month, we're going to do a rules heavy session. But again, it's a lot of video. Like I said, this is our only real PowerPoint heavy day. And then hopefully in August, we're going to be on the field where we're going to talk about both. So I've talked about what you can expect, what you should expect out of us. So this is kind of what we expect from our officials. From the moment you step foot in the parking lot or on the campus of a high school, we want you to be professional all the way up to the time you leave. That means, looking the part. Obviously, JV, you may be coming in, you're going to be going in dressed. But even for a Friday game, we want our officials khakis and a collar shirt because we want you looking professional when you walk in that door. So that's what we want. And even until the time you leave. When you leave, if you're in a locker room, please leave the locker room better than it was when you came in there. Pick up all your trash, put your chairs back. If they feed you, make sure all the food is in the trash as good as we can get it. All that is part of being professional, being responsible. Really want you to look like you know what you're doing. We don't want the coaches or administrators to go into our locker room after a game and think we just trashed it. All that is part of it. When you come in contact with a teacher or a coach or administrator, like trying to find the locker room or the field, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Be respectful, be professional. I'm talking about knowing your responsibilities before, during, and after the game, even JV game, running clock in a varsity game, all that is part of it. I understand coming from work on a Thursday to a JV game, kind of get there when you can. But if you can get there early, please do so. Meet with your crew, talk about things, walk the field. If you're a Friday night, even if you're on the clock, like I said, referee will give you a pregame topic. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you're involved in the pregame. Like I said, you're just as much part of the crew as referee, umpire, whoever. Moving with a purpose, and we'll talk about this in the next slide when it goes into hustle. And we preach hustle for years, and now we're starting to get some people kind of ask us, what do you mean by hustle? Like, what are you looking like? Do you want people running every time? It's not necessarily the case. You're not saying you have to run or jog every single step you make, but just every move you make, just make sure it has a purpose to it. Nothing kind of lackadaisical, nothing sloppy. Just every move has a purpose. And eliminate your extemporaneous conversations. Nothing wrong with talking to a coach saying, hey, how you doing? How's the season going? There's nothing wrong with that. But do be aware that a lot of times, some of these coaches, they are the most paranoid people in the world, and for good reason. If you spend 5 minutes talking to one coach for the game and the other coach, you spend 7 minutes talking to them, the coach is going to notice the 2-minute difference. Fans are going to notice the difference. If you are going to the press box and you're just kind of hamming it up with people when you're supposed to run the clock, that gets noticed. So again, nothing wrong with just shooting the poo, talking to these guys. How's the weather? How you doing? How's the season? Stuff like that's fine. But just kind of be cognizant of how you're talking to these other coaches and for how long. Again, this goes with the previous slide, hustle. No walking on the field. Like I said, everything is with a purpose. When you're getting to a spot, run to that spot, jog to the spot. When we come out onto the field, jog onto the field. In between quarters, when you're going to the next spot, jog to the spot. That's the kind of stuff we mean by hustle. During timeout, you want to come in and talk to the crew, just kind of jog in and talk to them. Hustle, hustle, hustle. And just like if you were a player on the team, we want you to be a team player on the crew as well. If you see something or you have a question, come in and ask it. If you think a penalty is being misenforced, by all means come in and we'll talk about it, because that's what being a team player is. And it's also being a great crewmate. Being there when the crew needs you. And the last point, we often talk about this. You never want to be the weakest link on a crew. The difference between a good crew and a great crew. A good crew can have every official is pretty good, but you just got that one official that's just that weak link. But in a great crew, there is no weak link. You don't want to be that weak crew. You don't want to be the reason that, you just don't want to be that referee that a coach doesn't want coming to their games. Or when they see you walk on the field, they just kind of slump their shoulders. A lot of that's hustle, a lot of that being respectful, and just doing what you're supposed to do. We expect you to have great rules knowledge and be mechanically strong. Now, we know your first year is just not going to be there. Second year, it may not be. But as long as we're seeing progress and we're seeing that you're committed to being good, that you want that drive, you have that drive, you want to get better, we can work with that. We can always work with officials who want to get better. It's the officials who think they know everything or they just don't want to get better that we kind of give up on. But if you show that desire to get better and you show that willingness, then we can get you there. And really just use common sense. As knowing the rules is one thing, and knowing the rules is great. But sometimes you just got to have common sense. That's what really, really divides a good official from a great one. As an example, one of the emphasis this year is good sportsmanship. And then in our train the trainers meeting at the GHSA office yesterday, the football boss was talking about sportsmanship, how coaches talk to us, how we talk to coaches. And several times he mentioned just using common sense. One of the emphasis this year is profanity. We don't want to hear profanity on the field. But if a player is using profanity kind of to himself or to one of his own players, that's not the intent of the good sportsmanship rule. But if he's directing that profanity towards another player on the other team, that's when we have an issue. Or if a coach is talking to one of his assistants, but he may be questioning your call or whatever, don't get rabbit ears and flag it. Just common sense. And that goes into with fouls too. Don't think you have a foul. You have to know you have a foul. A lot of that comes with experience. A lot of that comes with just seeing DPI over and over, seeing holding over and over, seeing offsides over and over. A lot of that you get to where you don't think it, you just know it. A lot has to do with confidence, and you'll get there. And our job is to help you get there. And we want you to put everything out there on the field. Give everything you have. Like I said, this isn't just showing up on a Friday night. We want you to study the rules. We want you to watch the film and huddle. We want you studying this up throughout the week. And you always want to be thankful for the opportunity because you never know when that last game is going to be your last. I've had several officials the past couple of years. They've worked a game. And in that game, they've had an injury or something. And suddenly it's their last game. So be thankful for the opportunity. Before I move into the last 3 or 4 slides and talk about axioms, does anyone have any questions? You can put in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask. All right. I don't think I heard anything. Well, hold on, my speaker's not right. All right, I think I fixed my speaker. Does anyone have a question? Did I miss it? No? Okay. Move on to the next slide. I just noticed I didn't have my speaker set up right. So if I missed a question during that, please let me know. So these last 3 slides are going to be about axioms of officiating. This is something I took from a college camp. A couple of college camps I've been to actually have done this. But I think they're great for first year officials as well. First one is you want quality fouls. You want to see everything you call, but don't call everything you see. No technical fouls and let them play. But you're going to hear that a lot. See everything you call, don't call everything you see. In a couple of months, especially when we talk about holding, this really stands true on holding. If you have a holding foul on the right side of the line, but the play is a sweep left, well, we're probably not going to call that holding foul because there's no impact on the play. On that same kind of line, if it's a very marginal, like it just really did not hold them, we'll see this a lot on DPI. Like there'll be some we call chicken fighting, where you have the DB and the wide receiver just kind of batting hands as they go. No one really gained an advantage, so you're going to let that slide. Is it technically a foul for pass interference? Absolutely. Is it one we're going to call? No. Some of that is training. Some of that just comes with experience. You see these plays over and over, and you learn what was an advantage gained and what wasn't. And here's one, and this is one reason why if you watch football over the past several decades, several years, couple of decades, you'll notice that officials carry the flags in the front of their belt now, rather than the back pocket. You used to watch the old football days, and a lot of that because if you reach for your flag, you will be ready to throw it. And we moved them to the front because it's a lot less noticeable if you reach for your flag. But in all, if you reach for your flag, be prepared to throw it. Don't reach for your flag if you don't intend to throw it. When I was coming up in baseball, one thing that really kind of helped me is pacing myself. Because the worst thing you can do as a baseball umpire behind the plate is step out to call a strike and then change your mind, because then everyone saw it. So one thing I kind of learned was when the pitch crosses a plate, hits the catcher's mitt, I would say in my head, that's a strike, or say in my head, that's a ball. And then I come out with a call. And I carry that over to football. If I see a hold, I say in my head, that's a hold. And actually, sometimes, especially if I'm working deep and I see DPI, I may say it twice. I was like, that's DPI. That's DPI. And then I'll throw it. And that just goes back to knowing the foul. Don't think you have the foul. Know you have the foul. So kind of keep that in your head. Just remember, see it and you say, that's a hold. And I would even, as you progress through the years, maybe not now, but as you progress, even say why it's a hold. In holding and DPI, we have categories. So you may even say, that's DPI, hook and turn. That's hold restriction. That's just, again, it gets you to knowing that's a foul. Of course, you get a number and you keep officiating. When you have a hold in the middle of the play is not over. Your officiating is not over. So you see a hold, you get the number, drop the flag, and you keep going. And here's one of the most important lines you can hear. If you don't get anything outside of this tonight, please get this. When you put your flag on the field, your integrity is linked to it. That's the most important thing you can learn in officiating. When you put a flag on the field, your integrity is linked to it. And this last one is something special. We have one team especially, maybe a couple of teams that do a lot of hiding the ball. So always be sure you see the ball before you blow your whistle. There's a common misconception in football that a whistle has to end the play. That's not necessarily the case. The actions on the field end the play, not the whistle. I had to tell a coach that I think my first game at White Hat, player was running, his running back was stood up. No, the other team's running back was stood up. Forward progress is obviously ended. It had been ended. His DB came, took the ball out of the running back's hand, took off down the field with it. And then we started blowing the whistle and killing it. The coach was adamant the ball was still alive because we did not blow the whistle. And I kept trying to tell him whistles don't end the play. But that's a common misconception, even among officials. So just make sure you see the ball before you blow that whistle. You're going to hear a lot, be a good dead ball official. View all players until they're back with their teammate. And this is because the easiest way a game can get out of hand is stuff going on in between the plays. So really kind of come in, make your presence known, use your voice. Tell players, good play, let's get up. Whatever you can do, let the players know you're there, come in. And that will knock out 90% of any dead ball activity. When you have a fumble, be deliberate in ruling on that fumble. Please get a beanbag down. The beanbag can be late. You have to think about it. That's fine. When we have a beanbag on the ground, we're fine. If you know for a fact he's down, come in and sell it. Always sell our calls. One thing we always want to do when we're bringing balls in and moving balls, we want crisp movement. We don't like balls touching the ground. So we're bringing a ball in from the sideline. Run in a few extra steps before you throw it if you need to. We don't want balls hitting the ground. It looks bad. We don't look like Three Stooges running around chasing balls on the ground. So crisp ball movement. Try to cut down the committee meetings. And of course, like I say it 100 times, do not walk on that field. Also count your players every down. I've had a lot of guys tell me they'll count 11, plays over, they won't see anyone come on and off the field, so they just won't count. I would advise against that. Always count. Do you want to be pretty sure there are 11, or do you want to be 100% sure there are 11? Always count. We have signals we use. If we have 12, so if you're counting, you got 12. If we have 12, you want to get on the radio and let your other crew members know, hey, I got 12. We want to recount and recount and recount. If we can, we want to shut the play down before the ball snap. So if there's 12 players on defense, no one's moving to get off the field, the ball's about to be snapped, we're going to shut it down. Illegal substitution, 5 yards, and we'll get it right. The only time where we're going to hold up a snap if we have 10 is on kickoffs. If we're about to kick it off, one team's got 10, we'll hold it up, tell the coach, hey, you got 10. And we're not going to kick off until we got 10. And that's just because you just don't want to start a kickoff like that. If you can help it, we want to get it right. Now, if it's a regular scrimmage play or a punt or something like that, team's got 10, no, that's on them. They need to count. But we're not going to cut it down for 10 anyway. And really, unless it's a kickoff, I wouldn't even tell a team you got 10. Unless it's like 70-0 and the team's getting just blown out, then you might say, hey, coach, you got 10 out there. Otherwise, unless it's a kickoff, we're not telling the team they have 10. Excellent communication with the coaches. We always want to, if a coach asks us a question, we want to answer it. If you don't feel comfortable answering, get your white hat over there to explain a rule. But we want to be courteous. We want to be professional. You'll hear us say sometimes, respond to a coach's question. We do not have to respond to all their comments, though. Now, if they just tell you that's a bad call, you don't have to respond to that. Silence cannot be misquoted. And it cannot be misinterpreted either. But if they ask you a question, do respond to it. If they ask you why it was a foul, again, you better know it was a foul, so you need to ask them. If they're asking you why it was a foul, but someone else threw it and you're not sure, tell them, hey, coach, I'll talk to them, the next opportunity, and we'll get it straightened out for you. A lot of that goes a long way into managing their behavior. You'll be surprised at how much just talking to coaches and treating them like humans. 90% of the coaches, that goes a long way in keeping everything peaceful. Here's one of the biggest things I can tell you too. If you miss a penalty, if you miss a call, don't dwell on it. You got to be ready to just move on. One of the biggest and worst things you can do is you miss a call and you just let it nag at you the whole game. It will mess up your entire game. I can't tell you how many times I've seen crew in the playoffs or even the state finals just be doing great. And then they have an inverted whistle and the wheels just fall off the bus. So you cannot dwell on missed calls. You have to let it go and move on. After the game, post game, film review, that's when we can start looking at things we missed. But during the game, you just gotta let it go. Concentration, give everything you have whenever you play for 60 minutes. Just focus. I have a whole presentation on focus. Probably not going to do it tonight. I may do it one of the later sessions, but focus is important. Preventive officiating, that's always important too. We can talk to the players. We want to talk to them. First play of the game, if the left guard is not all the way up on the line of scrimmage, we want to tell him after that play, hey, 57, please scoot up a little bit. Tell the OC or tell the head coach, hey, need to get the line up a little bit. That's the kind of preventive officiating we want to do. If players are getting kind of chippy with each other, make sure we're coming in there, we're talking to them, let them know we're there, let them know we're not going to put up with that tonight. Preventive officiating is always our key. Integrity, courage, and poise. That's our motto. That's the 3 characteristics you want. Integrity, courage, and poise. Your true character is going to come out in tight games. How good of an official you are is going to come out in tight games. And early in your career, those tight games are going to make you a better official. They're going to be the games you look back on and say, that was the night I became a better official. So always remember that. Be mentally and physically prepared to work the game. Running on the treadmill in an air-conditioned gym, it's not going to cut it in Georgia in August. Not going to help you. You need to start getting outside, running outside, working outside, whatever you need to do outside. That's how you're going to get in. That's how you're going to get in physical shape for August and September in Georgia. I've been working out, but I've been doing it in the AC. This is probably the week I need to start, running in the heat. So just kind of keep that in mind. And obviously be mentally prepared to work this game. Like I said, this is not just showing up on Friday nights and working a ball game. We want you in the film. We want you in the rule book. We want you ready. And the last thing, I'm going to say it again. I keep saying it. Hustle. get in position, move with a purpose. If a coach can see you hustling to get in the right position, um, it's going to help. Fans are going to see it, players are going to see it, and it'll help you a lot.